She doesn't know if her legs can carry her much longer, but she runs anyway. The forest is alive around her, branches slapping her face, roots twisting under her feet like they're trying to pull her down. Rain pours from the sky in sheets so thick she can barely see 3 steps ahead. Every breath burns in her chest, sharp and hot, like she's swallowing fire instead of air. Her clothes are torn, hanging off her shoulders in ragged strips. Mud cakes her bare feet. Blood, her blood, drips from a gash on her arm, leaving a trail she prays they won't follow. Behind her, the growls get louder. Not human, not animal, something in between, something that shouldn't exist but does, and it's hunting her like she's the last meal on earth. She hears the crack of branches snapping under heavy paws, the wet sound of something massive moving through the rain-soaked undergrowth. Her heart hammers so hard, she thinks it might burst right out of her ribs. Lightning splits the sky open, turning the world white for a single blinding second. In that flash, she sees them, shadows, massive, hulking shapes moving between the trees. Eyes that glow like embers in the dark. 3 of them, maybe 4. She can't tell anymore, can't think, can't do anything but run. The storm overhead isn't just weather, it's her. She can feel it in her bones, the way the thunder rolls in time with her panic, the way the lightning cracks when her fear spikes. It's like the sky is screaming for her, doing what she can't because her voice is trapped somewhere deep in her throat. She's terrified, furious, both at once, tangled up so tight she doesn't know where one ends and the other begins. Her hands are trembling. She looks down at them as she stumbles forward, and that's when she sees it. The flicker. Silver flame, dancing across her fingertips like dying stars. It sparks once, twice, then disappears. She tries to grab it, to hold onto it, to make it do something, anything, but it slips away like water through her fingers. She doesn't know how to control it, doesn't even understand what it is. All she knows is that it's inside her, this power, this strange and terrible thing that showed up one day and changed everything. She trips over a fallen log and crashes hard into the mud. Pain explodes in her knee, her palms, her already bleeding arm. For a moment, she just lies there, gasping, tasting dirt and rain and her own blood. The growls are closer now. So close she can hear the wet click of teeth, the low rumble vibrating through the ground beneath her. Get up! Get up! Get up! She drags herself to her feet, ignoring the way her body screams at her to stop. Her knee throbs, her vision blurs. But she runs again because stopping means dying, and she's not ready for that. Not yet. Not when she still doesn't have answers. Why are they after her? What do they want? She's nobody. Just a girl who worked in a bookstore and went home to an empty apartment and lived a life so ordinary it hurt. Until 3 nights ago. Until everything broke apart and she woke up with silver flames in her hands and a voice in her head that whispered words she couldn't understand. Until they came for her. The trees start to thin ahead. She can see it, an opening, a break in the endless green. Maybe a road. Maybe a way out. Hope flares in her chest, dangerous and desperate. She pushes harder, her legs burning, her lungs screaming, every part of her begging to collapse. The rain drives into her face like needles. The wind howls. The storm rages on, feeding off her terror, her anger, her frantic need to survive. And then one of them steps out in front of her. She skids to a stop, her feet sliding in the mud, her heart dropping into her stomach like a stone. It's massive, easily twice her height, covered in dark fur that glistens with rain. Its eyes burn red in the gloom, locked on her with an intelligence that makes her blood run cold. This isn't just some mindless beast. It knows her, recognizes her, wants something from her. She backs up slowly, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The other growls close in behind her. She's surrounded. Trapped. The opening in the trees feels like a cruel joke now, so close but impossibly far. Her hands start to shake again. The silver flame flickers back to life, brighter this time, dancing across her palms like it's alive. She feels the heat of it, strange and cold at the same time, like holding ice that burns. The creature in front of her snarls, lips pulling back to reveal teeth the size of her fingers. It takes a step forward, then another. "Stay back," she whispers, but her voice is weak, broken, nothing. The flame stutters and dies. "No, no, please, not now." The creature lunges. She throws her hands up on instinct, a scream tearing from her throat. And this time, the flame answers. It erupts from her palms in a burst of silver light, wild and uncontrolled, slamming into the creature mid-leap. The impact sends it flying backward into a tree with a bone-cracking thud. The light fades as fast as it came, leaving her standing there, hands still raised, staring at what she just did. But there's no time to process it. The other creatures are still there, circling, growling, and she can feel the power draining out of her like water from a broken dam. Her knees buckle, her vision swims. The flame won't come back. She tries, pushing and pulling at whatever's inside her, but it's gone, used up, leaving her empty and defenseless. She turns and runs for the opening, because it's the only choice left. Her legs barely hold her up. Her body feels like it's made of lead. The storm overhead starts to fade, the thunder quieting, the rain easing to a drizzle. Like it's exhausted, too. She breaks through the tree line and stumbles onto a dirt road, slick with rain and mud. There's nothing here, no cars, no people, just endless emptiness stretching out in both directions. The growls echo from the forest behind her. They're coming. They're always coming. She doubles over, hands on her knees, trying to catch her breath, trying to think, trying to figure out what to do next. But her mind is blank, fried. All she can feel is the fear clawing at her insides and the exhaustion dragging her down. The silver flame is still inside her somewhere. She knows it is. She felt it. But knowing it's there and being able to use it are two completely different things. Right now, it might as well not exist. She's just a girl on a muddy road in the middle of nowhere, bleeding and broken and hunted by things that shouldn't be real. Thunder rumbles one last time, soft and distant, like a warning. She lifts her head, staring down the empty road, and makes a decision. She'll keep moving. She'll find help, find answers, find some way to understand what's happening to her. Because giving up isn't an option, not when there's still a chance, however small, that she can figure this out. The growls fade into the background as she starts walking, each step heavy and painful, but forward. Always forward. The storm clouds above begin to break apart, revealing slivers of pale moonlight. It's not much, but it's something, and sometimes something is enough to keep you going when the whole world feels like it's trying to tear you apart. If you're hooked and want to know what happens next, subscribe to Crimson Moon by Benny and join the hunt. Because this is only the beginning, and the storm she's running from, it's nothing compared to the one waiting inside her. The road stretches on forever, empty and cold under the pale moonlight. Every step feels heavier than the last. Her knee throbs where she fell. Her arm still bleeds, slow and steady, dripping onto the wet dirt beneath her feet. She doesn't know where she's going, doesn't know if there's anywhere safe left in this world for someone like her. The forest behind her has gone quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes your skin crawl because you know something's watching, waiting, deciding when to strike. She keeps walking anyway, forcing one foot in front of the other, because stopping means thinking, and thinking means remembering. And remembering hurts too much right now. Then she hears it. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate. Coming from ahead of her, not behind. She freezes, her heart jumping into her throat. Her hands come up instinctively, and she tries so hard to call the silver flame back. But there's nothing. Just empty air and the ache in her palms where the power used to be. She's defenseless, broken, and whoever's coming knows it. A figure steps out of the shadows at the edge of the road. He's tall. Impossibly tall. His shoulders are broad, his posture confident in a way that makes the air around him feel heavier, more dangerous. The moonlight catches his eyes first, glowing faintly, an eerie amber gold that cuts through the darkness like a blade. Not human, not even close. His face is sharp, handsome in a cruel sort of way, like he was carved from stone and brought to life by something ancient and terrible. He doesn't rush toward her, doesn't need to. He just stands there, watching, and somehow that's worse than if he'd attacked, because she can feel the power rolling off him in waves, pressing against her chest, making it hard to breathe. This isn't just another creature from the woods. This is something else entirely. "I know what you are, Astra," he says, and his voice is low, smooth, like velvet dragged over broken glass. She stumbles back a step, her breath catching. How does he know her name? She's never seen this man, this thing, before in her life. But the way he says it, like he's been saying it for years, like it belongs to him somehow, makes her stomach twist. "Who are you?" Her voice comes out shaky, weak. She hates it. He tilts his head, studying her like she's a puzzle he's trying to solve. Does it matter? He takes a step closer, then another. Each movement is controlled, predatory, like a wolf circling wounded prey. "You've been running for 3 days. You're bleeding, exhausted. Your power's drained, and you still don't know what you are or why they want you." He pauses, his glowing eyes locking onto hers. "But I do." She wants to run. Every instinct in her body is screaming at her to turn around and bolt back into the forest, to take her chances with the creatures there instead of this man who feels like death wrapped in skin. But her legs won't move. It's like he's pinned her in place with nothing but his gaze. "I don't care what you think you know," she says, forcing her chin up, trying to sound braver than she feels. "Stay away from me." A smile tugs at the corner of his mouth. Not kind, not warm, just amused, like she's a child throwing a tantrum and he finds it entertaining. "You're not free yet, Astra." The words hit her like a punch to the gut. She opens her mouth to respond, to tell him to go to hell, but before she can, he moves. 1 second he's several feet away. The next, he's right in front of her, so close she can feel the heat radiating off his body, can smell the sharp scent of pine and smoke clinging to him. She gasps and stumbles backward, but he doesn't touch her, just blocks her path, towering over her, his eyes burning into hers. "You're coming with me," he says. And it's not a question, not even a suggestion. It's a command, spoken with the kind of authority that makes you obey without thinking. "No." The word rips out of her before she can stop it. "I'm not going anywhere with you." He raises an eyebrow, his expression unreadable. "You think you have a choice?" "I always have a choice." "Do you?" He leans in slightly, his voice dropping to a near whisper. "Because from where I'm standing, your choices are limited. You can come with me and maybe, live long enough to understand what's happening to you. Or you can keep running, keep bleeding, keep stumbling through the dark until those things catch up with you again. And this time, Astra, they won't stop until you're dead." Her hands ball into fists at her sides. She wants to hit him, wants to scream at him, wants to do anything other than stand here feeling small and helpless and trapped. But deep down, beneath the anger and the fear, there's something else. Something she doesn't want to acknowledge. A pull, faint but undeniable, tugging at something deep in her chest, drawing her toward him like a magnet. It doesn't make sense. She doesn't know this man, doesn't trust him, but her body seems to think otherwise. "Why?" she asks, her voice cracking. "Why do you care what happens to me?" His expression shifts, just for a second. The cold mask slips, and she sees something underneath, something raw and almost pained. But then it's gone, hidden again beneath that unreadable stare. "Because you're mine," he says simply, like it's the most obvious thing in the world. Her blood runs cold. "I'm not anyone's." Not yet. He steps back, giving her space, but his eyes never leave hers. "But you will be. Whether you like it or not." Before she can respond, a howl splits the night air. Long, haunting, far too close. The creatures from the forest. They've found her trail again. The man. The alpha. Because that's what he is. She can feel it now. The sheer weight of dominance radiating from him. Doesn't even flinch. He just sighs, like this is an inconvenience rather than a life-threatening situation. "We're out of time," he says, his voice clipped. "You can hate me later. Right now, you need to move." "I told you. I don't care." He grabs her wrist, not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough that she can't pull away. His skin is hot against hers, almost burning, and the moment he touches her, that pull in her chest flares to life, stronger than before. It makes her dizzy, makes her want to lean into him even though every rational part of her brain is screaming not to. Another howl. Closer this time. The ground beneath them trembles slightly, like something massive is running toward them. "Either you come with me now," he says, his voice deadly serious, "or I throw you over my shoulder and carry you. Your choice." She glares at him, fury burning in her veins. But the howls are getting louder. The forest is alive with movement, and she knows that if she stays here, she's dead. "Fine," she spits, "but I don't trust you." "Good," he says, and that dangerous smile returns. "You shouldn't." Then he pulls her forward, and they run. He moves fast, too fast for a human. His grip on her wrist is like iron, dragging her along as he cuts through the trees with a speed and precision that shouldn't be possible. She struggles to keep up, her injured leg screaming with every step, but he doesn't slow down. Doesn't even look back to check if she's okay. The howls chase them, echoing through the forest, getting closer and closer. She can hear the snap of branches, the thunder of paws hitting the ground. They're surrounded, trapped. And this man, this alpha, is leading her straight into the heart of it. "Where are we going?" she gasps, her lungs burning. "Somewhere they can't follow." "That's not an answer." He doesn't respond, just keeps running, his hand still locked around her wrist, pulling her deeper into the forest. The trees blur around them. The moonlight flickers through the canopy above, casting shifting shadows that make everything look twisted and wrong. Then, suddenly, he stops. She crashes into his back, nearly falling, but he steadies her with one hand. They're standing at the edge of a ravine. Below them, a river rushes past, dark and wild, swollen from the rain. On the other side, the forest continues, dense and impenetrable. "Jump," he says. She stares at him like he's lost his mind. "What?" "Jump." He points to the other side of the ravine. "It's the only way." Are you insane? I can't make that. You can if I help you." Before she can argue, before she can even process what he's saying, the creatures burst through the trees behind them. 5 of them. 6. Maybe more. Their eyes glow red in the darkness, their massive bodies silhouetted against the moonlight. Snarling, growling, ready to tear them apart. The alpha steps in front of her, his body a wall between her and the monsters. And then he changes. It happens so fast she barely sees it. One moment he's a man. The next, he's something else. Not fully human, not fully wolf. Something in between. His body stretches, muscles rippling beneath his skin, his hands shifting into claws. His eyes burn brighter, that eerie amber gold light consuming them. Power radiates from him, so strong it makes the air crackle. The creatures hesitate, just for a second. But it's enough. "When I say jump," he growls, his voice deeper now, rougher, barely human. "You jump, understand?" She nods, too terrified to do anything else. He lunges at the closest creature, moving like lightning. His claws tear through its side, sending it crashing to the ground with a yelp. The others scatter, regrouping, circling. He doesn't wait for them to attack. He becomes the storm, ripping through them with a ferocity that's both beautiful and horrifying. "Now!" he roars. She doesn't think, just runs toward the edge of the ravine and jumps. For a moment, she's weightless, flying. The wind rushes past her, cold and sharp, and she thinks, she's sure, that she's not going to make it, that she's going to fall into the river below and disappear forever. Then strong arms catch her. She slams into his chest, and he lands on the other side of the ravine with a grunt, his arms wrapped tight around her. For a second, neither of them moves. She can hear his heartbeat, fast and strong, pounding against her ear. can feel the heat of his body, the raw power still thrumming through him. "Are you okay?" he asks, his voice rough. She nods, too shaken to speak. Behind them, the creatures howl in frustration, pacing on the other side of the ravine. They don't jump, don't follow. Just watch with those burning red eyes as the alpha sets her down gently, his hands lingering on her arms for a moment longer than necessary. "They won't cross the river," he says, his breathing steadying. "Not here. This land is protected." Protected by what? He looks down at her, and for the first time, there's something almost soft in his gaze. By me. They walk in silence for what feels like hours. The forest gradually changes around them, less wild, more intentional. The trees grow in patterns, the undergrowth is cleared in places, revealing narrow paths that wind through the darkness. She can feel magic here, old and heavy, pressing down on her like a weight. "Where are we?" she finally asks. "My territory," he says without looking back. "The heart of it. And you are?" He stops walking and turns to face her. The moonlight filters through the trees, casting silver light across his face. He looks human again now, whatever transformation he went through reversed. But there's still something otherworldly about him, something that makes her pulse quicken. "KL," he says, "Alpha King of the Northern Packs." Her stomach drops. Alpha King. She's heard the stories. Whispers in the pack she used to belong to, spoken in hushed voices around fires. The Alpha King is a legend, a monster, the most powerful shifter alive, ruling over territories that span hundreds of miles. Ruthless, merciless, untouchable, and she just let him save her life. "I've heard of you," she says quietly. "I'm sure you have." He resumes walking. "Most of it's probably true." "The part where you kill anyone who challenges you?" "Yes." "The part where you've never lost a fight?" "Also yes." "The part where you're completely heartless?" He pauses, glancing back at her over his shoulder. There's something unreadable in his expression. "That depends on who you ask." She doesn't know what to say to that, so she says nothing. Just follows him deeper into the forest, her mind racing. Why would the Alpha King himself come for her? What does he want? And why does being near him make her feel like she's standing on the edge of a cliff, one step away from falling? They emerge into a clearing, and she stops dead in her tracks. It's beautiful. A massive stone structure rises from the earth, half hidden by vines and moss, ancient and imposing. It's not quite a castle, not quite a temple, something in between. Torches burn along the walls, casting warm light across the clearing. Other shifters move through the space, some in human form, others half-shifted, their eyes glowing in the darkness. They all stop when they see Kyle, their heads bowing in respect. Or maybe fear. "This is your home?" she asks. "For now." He leads her toward the entrance. "You'll stay here tonight. We'll talk in the morning." "Talk about what?" He stops at the doorway and looks at her, really looks at her, and for a moment, she sees something vulnerable flash across his face, something that almost looks like longing. "About who you are, Astra," he says softly, "and what you're meant to become." Before she can ask what he means, he's gone, disappearing into the shadows of the stone structure, leaving her standing alone in the firelight, more confused and terrified than ever. Is he a friend or foe? Subscribe to Crimson Moon by Benny to find out. She doesn't sleep that night. They gave her a room, small but comfortable, with a bed that's softer than anything she's felt in days. There's clean water in a basin, fresh clothes laid out for her. Someone even bandaged her arm while she was too exhausted to protest. But comfort doesn't equal safety. And she knows better than to let her guard down in a place like this. She sits on the edge of the bed, staring at her hands. The silver flame hasn't returned. She's tried calling it, tried pushing and pulling at whatever's inside her, but there's nothing. Just emptiness. It terrifies her more than she wants to admit. Her mind keeps drifting back to him. Kakil. The way he looked at her. The way his touch burned against her skin. The pull she felt, still feels, toward him, like an invisible thread tying her to him, whether she wants it or not. "You're mine," he'd said. The words echo in her head, making her stomach twist. She's not anyone's. She's never been anyone's. She's spent her whole life being pushed away, cast out, told she's too dangerous to keep around. And now this stranger, this Alpha King, claims her like she's something precious? It doesn't make sense, unless a memory surfaces, unbidden, sharp and painful. She's 16 again, standing in front of the pack council. Her old pack. The only family she'd ever known. They're staring at her with fear and disgust, their eyes hard. Their voices cold. "You're too dangerous, Astra. Your power is unnatural. You don't belong here." She'd tried to explain, tried to tell them she didn't understand what was happening to her, that she didn't mean to hurt anyone. But they didn't care, didn't want to hear it. They just wanted her gone. "Leave," the Alpha had said, his voice final. "And don't come back." So she did. She left, walked away from the only home she'd ever known, and spent the next 6 years running, hiding, trying to bury the power inside her so deep it would never surface again. But it did. 3 nights ago, it exploded out of her in a wave of silver fire that burned everything in its path. And they came for her, the creatures, the hunters, everyone who wanted to use her power or destroy it. She presses her palms against her eyes, trying to stop the memories from drowning her. But they keep coming, relentless and cruel. She remembers the day she was born, or at least the stories she was told. Her mother died in childbirth, the labor too hard, too fast, like something was fighting to get out. When Astra finally came into the world, she was wrapped in silver light, her tiny hands glowing like stars. A gift, some said. A curse, others whispered. Her father tried to protect her, tried to keep her safe, but when she was 10, he died too, killed by a rogue shifter who wanted to use Astra's power for himself. She watched it happen, watched the life drain from his eyes while she stood frozen, unable to help, the silver flame flickering uselessly in her hands. After that, the pack took her in, but they never trusted her, never let her forget that she was different. Dangerous, wrong. And now, here she is, sitting in the Alpha King's fortress, surrounded by strangers, with no idea what tomorrow will bring. A soft knock on the door pulls her from her thoughts. She tenses, her hands curling into fists. "Come in!" The door opens, and a woman steps inside. She's older, maybe in her 50s, with silver hair braided down her back and kind eyes that crinkle at the corners when she smiles. There's something calming about her, something that makes Astra's shoulders relax just slightly. "I'm Mara," the woman says gently. "I'm the healer here. I wanted to check on you before you rest." "I'm fine," Astra says automatically. Mara's smile doesn't fade. "You've been through a lot tonight. It's okay not to be fine." The kindness in her voice almost breaks something inside Astra. She looks away, blinking hard against the sudden sting in her eyes. "Why am I here?" Mara sits down on the bed beside her, careful not to crowd her. "Because Kale brought you here." "I know that. But why? What does he want from me?" Mara is quiet for a long moment, her expression thoughtful. "I think," she says slowly, "that's a question you'll have to ask him yourself. But I can tell you this. He's been searching for you for a long time." Astra's head snaps up. "What?" "Years," Mara says. "Ever since he heard the rumors about a girl with silver fire. A girl who might be the one the prophecy speaks of." That word again. Prophecy. Astra's hands start to shake. "I don't know anything about a prophecy." "Maybe not yet," Mara says gently. "But you will. And when you do, you'll have to decide who you want to be." Before Astra can respond, Mara stands and moves toward the door. She pauses, glancing back with a sad smile. "Get some rest, child. Tomorrow will bring answers, whether you're ready for them or not." Then she's gone, and Astra is alone again, drowning in questions and fear, and the terrible, aching feeling that her life is about to change in ways she can't even begin to imagine. Want to know more about Astra's dark past? Hit subscribe and stay with us. Morning comes too fast. Astra wakes to sunlight streaming through the small window, warming her face. For a moment, she forgets where she is. Forgets everything. Then reality crashes back, and she sits up, her heart pounding. Someone's already been in the room. There's food on a small table by the door. Bread, fruit, water. Her stomach growls, reminding her she hasn't eaten in days. She hesitates, eyeing the food suspiciously, but hunger wins out. She eats quickly, mechanically, barely tasting anything. As she finishes, the door opens. It's not Mara this time, it's Kyle. He fills the doorway, tall and imposing, his amber eyes locked on her. He's dressed simply, dark pants, a loose shirt that does nothing to hide the muscle beneath, but he still radiates power. Still makes the air feel heavier just by existing. "We need to talk," he says. "It's not a request." She stands, crossing her arms over her chest. "Fine. Talk." He studies her for a moment, then steps aside, gesturing for her to follow. "Not here. Come with me." Every instinct tells her to refuse. To stay in this room where at least she has 4 walls around her. But she knows it won't matter. If he wants her to come, she'll come. One way or another, so she follows him. They walk through the stone structure, past shifters who bow their heads as Kale passes, their eyes flicking to Astra with curiosity and wariness. She keeps her gaze forward, refusing to meet their stares. Kale doesn't say anything, just leads her deeper into the fortress, down winding corridors lit by torches, until they reach a heavy wooden door. He pushes it open, revealing a room unlike anything she's seen before. It's a library, or maybe a study. The walls are lined with shelves stuffed full of books, scrolls, ancient texts that look like they might crumble if you breathe on them too hard. In the center of the room is a large table covered in maps and papers, and on the far wall there's a mural, faded and worn, but still visible. A wolf, standing tall. Wreathed in silver flames, Astra's breath catches. "What is this?" "The answer to your question," Kale says, closing the door behind them. "Who you are, what you are." She turns to face him, her heart hammering. "I don't understand." He walks over to the mural, his hand tracing the outline of the wolf. "There's a prophecy," he says quietly. "An old one. Older than the packs, older than most of the bloodlines. It speaks of a child born with silver fire, a child who will either save our kind or destroy us." Her stomach drops. "That's not me." "Isn't it?" He turns to look at her, his eyes intense. "You were born with the flame, Astra. You've carried it your whole life, even when you tried to bury it. And now it's waking up, growing stronger, because it knows what's coming. What's coming? War," he says simply. "The packs are fracturing. The old alliances are breaking, and there are things stirring in the dark, things that haven't been seen in centuries. We need the one the prophecy speaks of. We need you," she shakes her head, backing away. "No. You've got the wrong person. I'm nobody. Just a girl who got kicked out of her pack and has been running ever since. I can't save anyone." "You don't have a choice," Kyle says, his voice hard. "The prophecy has already begun. The moment your power awakened, the wheels started turning. You can deny it all you want, but it won't change what's coming." "Then what am I supposed to do?" she demands, her voice breaking. "I can't even control this thing inside me. I couldn't save my father, couldn't save my pack. How am I supposed to save an entire world?" His expression softens, just slightly. He takes a step toward her, closing the distance between them. "You're not alone in this, Astra. Not anymore." "Why do you care?" The question bursts out of her, raw and desperate. Why does the Alpha King himself give a damn about some cursed girl from a dead pack? He's quiet for a long moment, his eyes searching hers. Then, so softly she almost doesn't hear it, he says, "Because you're my mate." The world stops. She stares at him, unable to breathe, unable to think. "What?" "You're my mate," he repeats, louder this time. "I knew the moment I saw you. The bond. It's there, Astra. You feel it too. I know you do. She does. She's felt it since the moment he appeared on that road. The pull, the heat, the inexplicable connection that doesn't make sense but exists anyway, undeniable and terrifying. No, she whispers. That's not, I don't. You can deny it, he says, stepping closer, his voice dropping to a near whisper. You can fight it, but it won't change the truth. You're mine, and I'm yours, whether we like it or not. Her hands are shaking. Her whole body is shaking. I don't want this. Neither did I, he admits, and there's something broken in his voice. But here we are. They stand there, inches apart, the weight of the bond pressing down on them like a physical thing. Astra wants to run, wants to scream, wants to tear this feeling out of her chest and throw it away. But she can't, because deep down, beneath all the fear and anger, there's something else. Something that whispers maybe. Maybe this is what she's been searching for her whole life. Maybe this is where she belongs. I need time, she says finally, her voice barely audible. Cale nods slowly. Take all the time you need. But Astra! He reaches out, his fingers brushing against her cheek, and the touch sends electricity racing through her veins. Time is the one thing we don't have. Can Astra truly embrace her fate? Subscribe and join us as her journey unfolds. The days blur together after that. Kyle gives her space, just like he promised. But he's always there, hovering at the edges of her awareness. She sees him training in the courtyard, his movements precise and deadly. Sees him in council meetings with other alphas, his voice commanding and absolute. Sees him watching her from across the room, his eyes burning with something she can't name. And every time their eyes meet, the bond flares to life, pulling her toward him like gravity. Mara becomes her guide, showing her around the fortress, explaining the pack dynamics, teaching her about the world she's been thrust into. Astra learns that Cale rules over 5 major packs, each with their own territory, their own customs. He's respected, feared, and utterly alone. He's never taken a mate before, Mara tells her one afternoon as they walk through the gardens. Never even considered it. Most alphas bond young, but Cale, he's been waiting. For what? Mara gives her a knowing look. For you, child. Astra doesn't know how to respond to that. Doesn't know how to process the idea that someone like Cale, the Alpha King, has been waiting his entire life for her. It feels impossible, ridiculous. And yet, every time she's near him, the bond whispers that it's true. She starts training with the pack warriors, desperate for something to do, some way to feel useful. They're wary of her at first, keeping their distance. But slowly they warm up. She's stronger than she looks, faster than they expect. And when her power finally flickers back to life during a sparring match, sending a burst of silver flame across the training ground, they stare at her with something that might be awe. Cale watches from the sidelines, his arms crossed, his expression unreadable. But when their eyes meet, he smiles. Just a little, just enough to make her heart stutter. Late one night, she finds herself wandering the fortress, unable to sleep. Her mind won't stop racing, spinning through everything she's learned, everything she's felt. She ends up in the library again, drawn to that mural of the wolf wreathed in flames. Can't sleep? She spins around to find Cale standing in the doorway, his expression soft in the firelight. Something like that, she says. He walks over to her, standing close enough that she can feel the heat of his body. What are you thinking about? Everything, she admits. The prophecy, the bond, all of it. It's a lot. I know. They stand in silence for a moment, the air between them charged with unspoken words. Then, quietly, he says, I was betrayed too, once. She looks up at him, surprised. What? His jaw tightens. By someone I trusted, someone I loved. They turned on me when I needed them most, used my trust against me. It's why I don't let people in easily, why I've been alone for so long. There's pain in his voice, raw and real, and it cracks something open inside her. She reaches out without thinking, her hand finding his. I'm sorry. He looks down at their joined hands, then back at her, and the vulnerability in his eyes steals her breath. "I see you, Astra," he says softly. "All of you. The fear, the anger, the power you're afraid of. And I'm not going anywhere." Her throat tightens. "Can I trust you?" "I hope so," he says, "because I'm trusting you with everything I have." They're close now. So close she can see the flecks of gold in his amber eyes, can feel his breath against her skin. The bond hums between them, electric and alive, pulling them together. Her heart pounds. Her hands shake. He leans in slowly, giving her time to pull away. But she doesn't. Can't. And when his lips brush against hers, soft and tentative, the world falls away. The kiss is gentle at first. Testing. But then something breaks, and it deepens, becoming desperate and hungry, and everything she didn't know she needed. His hands come up to cup her face, his touch burning against her skin, and she melts into him, letting the bond pull her under. When they finally break apart, both breathing hard, he rests his forehead against hers. "I've been waiting for you," he whispers, "for so long." "I know," she says, and realizes it's true. She does know, feels it in her bones. Will they finally trust each other? Subscribe to find out what happens next, but peace never lasts. 3 days later, everything falls apart. Astra is in the training yard when the alarm sounds, a deep, resonating horn that echoes across the fortress. The warriors freeze, their faces going pale. Mara appears at her side, grabbing her arm. "We need to get you inside," she says urgently. "What's happening?" "They're here." Before Astra can ask who, the gates explode inward. Shifters pour through the opening, dozens of them, their eyes glowing red, their faces twisted with rage. But these aren't the creatures from the forest. These are pack members, wolves, and they're here for blood. Kale appears in the courtyard, already half-shifted, his power rolling off him in waves. "Get her out of here!" he roars at Mara. But Astra doesn't run. She stands her ground, watching as the attackers surround them. And then she sees him. A man stepping through the broken gates, tall and imposing, with a cruel smile on his face. She recognizes him. Alpha Theron, the leader of the pack that exiled her. "Well, well," Theron says, his voice dripping with contempt. "Little Astra, all grown up, and playing house with the Alpha King, no less." Kale moves to stand in front of her, his body a shield. "Leave, now!" Theron laughs. "Oh, I don't think so. You see, the council has decided that Astra is too dangerous to be left alive. Her power threatens the balance, and we're here to correct that mistake." "You'll have to go through me first," Kale growls. "Gladly." The battle erupts. Kale's warriors clash with Theron's forces, the courtyard exploding into chaos. Astra stumbles backward, her heart pounding, her hands trembling. She watches as Kale fights, his movements brutal and efficient, tearing through enemies like they're nothing. But there are too many. They keep coming, wave after wave, and slowly, inevitably, they're being pushed back. And then Theron's eyes lock on her. "There you are," he says, stalking toward her. "Time to finish what we started." Terror floods through her, but so does something else. Anger, rage. 6 years of running, of hiding, of being told she's too dangerous, too broken, too wrong. It all comes crashing down on her at once. The silver flame ignites. It bursts from her hands, wild and uncontrolled, slamming into Theron and sending him flying backward. The courtyard erupts in light, bright and blinding, and everyone stops. Stares. Even Kale, because this isn't the flickering, uncertain power she had before. This is something else. Something massive and terrible and beautiful all at once. The flames swirl around her, lifting her off the ground, and she feels it. The full weight of what she is, what she's always been. "I am not your sacrifice," she says, and her voice echoes across the battlefield, amplified by the power coursing through her. The attackers hesitate. Some of them start to back away. But Theron rises to his feet, fury twisting his face. "Kill her!" he screams. They rush her all at once, and Astra lets the flame consume her. It explodes outward in a wave of silver fire, sweeping across the courtyard, forcing the attackers back. She doesn't want to kill them, doesn't want to hurt anyone, but the power has its own will now, and it's done being controlled. It tears through the battlefield, a force of nature, until finally, the attackers break. They run, scattering into the forest, leaving Theron standing alone. He stares at her, his eyes wide with fear and hate. "This isn't over," he snarls. "Yes," Astra says quietly. "It is." The flame surges one last time, and Theron flees, disappearing into the trees. The courtyard falls silent. The flames around Astra flicker and die, lowering her gently to the ground. She sways, exhausted, her body trembling. And then Kyle is there, catching her before she falls, his arms strong and warm around her. "I've got you," he murmurs. "I've got you." She looks up at him, tears streaming down her face, and for the first time in her life, she believes it. Believes that she's not alone, that she doesn't have to carry this burden by herself. Will Astra rise or fall? Subscribe and don't miss the next chapter. The aftermath is brutal. The fortress is in ruins, walls cracked, gates destroyed, and the pack is shaken, uncertain. Astra can feel their eyes on her as Mara tends to her wounds, their fear and awe mixing together into something she can't quite name. Kyle calls a council meeting that night. The other alphas gather, their faces grim. Astra stands at Kale's side, her head held high despite the exhaustion dragging at her bones. "She is a threat," one of the alphas says, his voice hard. "You saw what she did. That power. It's unnatural. She saved us," Kale counters, his voice like steel. "Without her, we would have been overrun. Or she brought this on us in the first place," another alpha argues. "Theron came for her, not us." "And I dealt with him," Astra says, her voice cutting through the room. All eyes turn to her. "I won't apologize for what I am. I didn't ask for this power, but it's mine, and I'm done hiding it." The alphas exchange uneasy glances. One of them, an older man with silver hair, leans forward. "The prophecy speaks of the one with the mark," he says slowly. "It says she will either save us or destroy us. How do we know which path you'll take?" Astra meets his gaze steadily. "You don't. But I can tell you this. I won't be used. Not by you. Not by anyone. If you want my help, you'll have to trust me. And if you can't do that, then you're on your own." The room falls silent. Then, slowly, the silver-haired alpha nods. "Very well, but know this, girl. If you betray us, there will be no mercy." "I wouldn't expect any," Astra says. The council disperses, leaving her alone with Kyle. He turns to her, his expression a mixture of pride and concern. "You just declared war on half the packs in the region." "I know. And you're okay with that?" She thinks about it for a moment, then nods. "I'm done running, Kale. If they want a fight, I'll give them one, but I do it on my terms." He smiles, and it's fierce and proud. "That's my mate." The words send warmth flooding through her, and for a moment, she lets herself lean into him, soaking in his strength. "What happens now?" "Now," he says, his arms wrapping around her, "we prepare. Because this is far from over, but whatever comes next, we face it together." She looks up at him, her heart full despite everything. Together. The final battle is coming. Subscribe to Crimson Moon by Benny and witness the rise of the true alpha. A week later, Astra stands at the edge of the fortress walls, staring out at the forest beyond. The wind whispers through the trees, carrying with it the scent of rain and earth. Somewhere out there, Theron is gathering forces, rallying packs who fear her, who want her gone. War is coming. She can feel it in her bones, but she's not afraid anymore. The silver flame hums beneath her skin, steady and strong. She's learned to control it over the past days, learned to channel it, shape it. It's still wild, still dangerous, but it's hers. And she's done being ashamed of it. Footsteps approach behind her. She doesn't need to turn around to know it's Kyle. The bond tells her, warm and constant, a tether connecting them. "Thinking about running?" he asks, a hint of teasing in his voice. Never, she says, and means it. He comes to stand beside her, his shoulder brushing hers. Good, because I'd only hunt you down and drag you back. She laughs, the sound surprising her. When was the last time she laughed? She can't remember. You could try. I'd succeed. Maybe. They stand in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over the forest. The sky bleeds orange and pink, beautiful and fleeting. Astra lets herself enjoy the moment, knowing it won't last, knowing that soon they'll be thrust back into the chaos. But for now, just for now, she has this. Has him. Do you regret it? Kale asks quietly. Accepting the bond? Staying here? She considers the question, turning it over in her mind. A month ago, she would have said yes, would have done anything to be free of this power, this destiny, this connection to him. But now, no, she says. I don't. He looks at her, surprise flickering across his face. Really? Really? She turns to face him fully, her hand finding his. I spent so long running from who I am, from what I could be. But I'm done with that. This power, this bond, this life, it's mine. And I'm choosing it. I'm choosing you. Something breaks in his expression, something vulnerable and raw. He pulls her close, his arms wrapping around her, and she feels him shudder against her. I was so afraid, he whispers against her hair. Afraid you'd leave. Afraid I'd lose you before I ever really had you. I'm not going anywhere, she promises, her voice fierce. We're in this together, remember? Together, he echoes, and when he pulls back to look at her, there's so much emotion in his eyes, it steals her breath. I love you, Astra. I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But I do. I love you. Her heart clenches, and for a moment she can't speak, can't breathe. Then the words spill out, unbidden but true. I love you too. He kisses her then, deep and claiming, and she kisses him back with everything she has. The bond sings between them, bright and unbreakable, and for the first time in her life, Astra feels whole. Would you have chosen her, or feared her too? Is she a hero, or just a girl cursed with too much fire? If this story lit something inside you, subscribe to Crimson Moon by Benny. Because here, we tell tales that burn. The attack comes at dawn. Astra wakes to the sound of horns blaring, the clash of metal, the roar of wolves. She's on her feet in seconds, the silver flame already sparking to life in her hands. Kyle is beside her, fully shifted, his wolf form massive and terrifying. They're at the gates, he growls. Hundreds of them. She doesn't ask who. Doesn't need to. Theron has made his move, and this time, he's brought an army. They rush to the courtyard, where Kale's warriors are already engaged in brutal combat. The attackers pour through the broken gates, wave after wave of snarling wolves and shifters. Astra sees Theron at the center of it all, his eyes locked on her, burning with hatred. End this! Kyle roars, and his warriors surge forward. But Astra knows this won't be won by brute force alone. She can feel it, the prophecy, the destiny, all of it converging on this moment. This is what she was born for. This is why the silver flame chose her. She steps forward, letting the power build inside her, letting it grow until it's almost unbearable. Then she releases it. The flames erupt from her in a column of silver light that shoots into the sky, illuminating the entire battlefield. It's not destructive this time. It's protective. The flames spread out, forming a barrier around the fortress, pushing the attackers back, holding them at bay. Theron screams in rage, throwing himself at the barrier, but it doesn't break. Can't break. Because Astra is done being afraid. Done being the victim. She is the storm. She is the fire. And she will not be extinguished. Stand down! She shouts, her voice amplified by the power coursing through her. This ends now! For a moment, the battlefield freezes. Everyone, attacker and defender alike, stares at her in awe and terror. Then, slowly, Theron's forces begin to retreat. Not all of them, but enough. Enough to turn the tide. Theron himself doesn't run. He stands there, glaring at her with pure venom. "You think you've won?" he spits. "You're a monster, Astra, and one day that power will consume you. Mark my words." "Maybe," she says, her voice steady. "But today is not that day." The flames surge one last time, and Theron finally turns and flees, his remaining forces scattering like leaves in the wind. The battlefield falls silent. The barrier around the fortress fades, the silver flames retreating back into Astra. She sways, exhausted but standing, and Kyle is there immediately, his arms around her, holding her up. "You did it," he murmurs. "You actually did it." She looks up at him, a tired smile on her face. "We did it." He kisses her forehead, his touch gentle and reverent. "My fierce, incredible mate." Around them, the pack begins to cheer. Not with fear or wariness, but with genuine respect. Astra looks at them. These people she barely knows, this pack that's become her family, and feels something warm and unfamiliar bloom in her chest. Hope. This story is far from over. Subscribe and prepare for the storm. The ground trembles. It's subtle at first, just a faint vibration beneath their feet. But then it grows, spreading across the fortress, shaking the stones, rattling the gates. Astra's eyes widen, and she looks at Kale, who's already scanning the horizon. His body tense. "What is that?" she whispers. "I don't know." The trembling intensifies. And then, from the forest, a voice echoes. Deep, ancient, not quite human. She is not the only one. Astra's blood runs cold. She spins toward the sound, her hands sparking with silver flame. But there's nothing there. Just shadows. Just trees. "Who said that?" she demands. Kale's jaw tightens. "We need to get everyone inside. Now." But before they can move, the sky darkens. Clouds roll in, thick and black, blotting out the sun. Lightning cracks across the horizon, and in the distance, something howls. Not a wolf. Something else. Something bigger. The voice comes again, closer this time, whispering on the wind. "The true alpha hasn't risen. Yet." Astra's heart pounds. She looks at Kale, sees her own fear reflected in his eyes. Whatever's coming, it's bigger than Theron, bigger than the packs, bigger than anything they've faced so far. And it's only just beginning. This story is far from over. Subscribe and prepare for the storm.